Welcome back. As week 3 begins in the Alex Jones defamation trial out of Connecticut, jurors hear emotional testimony from the father of a Sandy Hook school shooting victim. Last month, Jones was ordered to pay more than $49 million in damages as part of a separate defamation case out of Texas. Jones could soon owe even more in damages as part of another defamation suit out of Connecticut. 15 plaintiffs sued Jones after he claimed the Sandy Hook school shooting was a hoax put on by actors. Jones has already been found liable for damages in this case, meaning jurors will now decide how much Jones should pay. On Tuesday, Ian Hockley's father of the victim, Dylan Hockley, took the stand. He told jurors his family was forced to take down a YouTube video of his son's memorial after it was bombarded with hateful comments about the shooting being a hoax. Later, he explained how he reacts 10 years after the shooting when people continue to call him an actor.
In what way or ways, if any, has the narrative of you being an actor, faking your child's death for some other purposes of Dylan never having lived affect the way you go about that?
I'm very intentional to make sure that story is there, and I will warn the audience that we will be talking about the events of 12/14 because I want to establish my truth and my journey. So I'm both very definite I'm doing that, but I'm also aware that that could draw out someone who's there who wants to stop me, obstruct me, attack me. I'm just constantly aware that that's a thing. But I'm in weighing those two out, this wins out that I'm going to tell this story, I'm going to share about Dylan. And so I just have to be careful. I just have to be careful about where I go and speak, who I go to.
New York Times writer and author of the book Sandy Hook, An American Tragedy and the Battle for Truth, Elizabeth Williamson, has been inside the courtroom. She explains the impact she's noticed as Alex Jones hasn't been there.
I can tell you what the families are thinking and what they've expressed in the past in the first damages trial earlier this summer, that this is an act of cowardice not to turn up in the courtroom, but rather to hold forth outside where he can control the floor, not submit. Once again, jurors after the first damages trial were saying that not only did they find that it was an act of cowardice not to turn up and face these families except when he's compelled to testify or chooses to testify, but really it shows disregard for the judicial process in general. And you have to remember, of course, that the jurors are here because they believe in the court process and they believe in the judicial system. So for them to be here and have him not show up except to deliver this sort of tirade that he did last Thursday, I think reflects very negatively on him.
Yeah, I would agree as well. Powerful words. Terry, emotional and heartbreaking testimony, but how does that translate to how much Jones will have to pay these families?
I do think that it will affect the jury. No doubt about it. When you have emotional testimony like that, the jury is feeling it. They're putting themselves in the place of these parents, and they absolutely are going to feel as though they need to award a large number. We saw that in Texas, a large number was awarded. I think because there are more families here, we might see a larger number. And the fact that Alex Jones himself expresses no remorse. He doesn't respect the system. And I think the jury sees that too. They are here and they are doing their duty, and the least he can do is to come to court. So I think the emotional testimony, the fact that Alex Jones is disregarding the system, all of that is going to weigh heavily on the jury, and I think we're going to come back with a large award.
Yeah, Katherine, Terry, and Elizabeth Williamson, I think, are kind of touching the issue slightly, so let's get right to it. Ian Hockley's testimony compared to that of Alex Jones on the stand last week, the comparison's got to look devastating for Jones, right?
Definitely. In terms of last week, we saw Jones testify in what looked like a circus trial because he was so uncontrollable by both the judge and his own lawyer and also the plaintiff's lawyer. Everyone were having a hard time trying to control him and what his testimony would be, as compared to Dylan's father today, who was so emotional, and you really feel the damages that has happened to this family. His testimony is helpful with the damages side, even showing that after all of these years, he's still feeling that pain and suffering that no father should feel.
Absolutely. It's really a contrast, makes it look one good and one bad. It's not something you want if you're the defense attorney here. Well, also in celebrity legal news, the Santa Fe County District Attorney says actor Alec Baldwin and 3 others could still face charges in the deadly Rush shooting. In October of last year, Baldwin was holding a prop weapon on the set of the Western movie. The gun went off photograph and cinematographer Helena Hutchins and director Joel Souza were shot. Hutchins died as a result of her injuries, while Baldwin maintains he never pulled the trigger. Nearly 1 year later, no criminal charges have been filed in relation to the shooting, but Santa Fe officials say they could soon be on the way. This comes as the district attorney's office made an emergency funding request of more than $600,000 to continue the investigation. Prosecutors say they have not yet determined if charges are warranted, but say this could be a homicide case. A final report of the deadly shooting has not yet been released by the sheriff's office.
If you learned something new from this video, please go ahead and click subscribe. That's the red button down there. And if you have any questions or any legal topics that you'd like me to cover, feel free to go ahead and place that in the comments below, and I'll try my best to make a YouTube video out of that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!